Picture yourself in heels trudging down an endless sidewalk for hours in 100-degree weather. For a week straight, you rack up 3 to 6 miles daily under the sun. People are constantly shouting, "Remember, ladies, walk with a purpose, walk with a purpose." Or, "Drink water, we don't want another girl passing out from the heat today, do we?" Surprisingly, you voluntarily signed up for this and you're having the time of your life while doing it. This was my first college experience. Sorority recruitment began 2 weeks before the start of classes. On day 1 of Rush, an army of spray tans, acrylic nails, and hair and lash extensions descended upon the Arizona campus. 1,700 girls marched down the row towards their scheduled houses. The college version of toddlers and tiaras began to unfold right before me. We melted under the sun while recruitment counselors nagged at us to walk just a little faster. Girls were frantic outside the houses because of sweat, thanks to the sweltering heat. Recruitment counselors, called RCs, attempted damage control by spraying Febreze on girls and passing out coffee filters to soak up face oil. I never expected Malibu Barbies to walk through streams of cheap air freshener or rub crappy coffee filters on their face, all for the sake of appearance. It was a disaster cleanup on First Street. Stories of girls fainting on walkways began circling through our groups within the first hour. We watched an ambulance roll past to take someone to Banner for an IV. GroupMe's fired off reminding us to drink water and eat snacks. Heat stroke was making people drop like flies. The little I know about heat stroke comes from surviving 20 brutal Arizona summers. As a T-Loc, I'd long convinced myself I was a seasoned pro and would never fall victim. Navigating life in the extreme heat is second nature, but it turns out I'm nowhere near immune to the sun. Midweek, I began to feel worn out. I dragged myself out of my tiny twin bed at 5:30 every morning and spent 2 hours on my hair and makeup. Neon orange bandages were plastered onto my ankles to cover the nasty blisters I developed each day. My suitemates and I adopted a nightly ritual of drinking hot tea mixed with Theraflu, then always chased with a packet of Emergency. We all had nasty colds. Both sides of the dorm room fell silent by 10 p.m. due to our exhaustion. Day 5 of Rush started out relatively normal. I'd fallen into routine. I met my recruitment group at the Union before we split off. I wore sparkly pink eyeshadow and spent way too long deciding on my outfit. Same as every other day. Physically, I felt like shit, but I was driven by my excitement. I got in every house I wanted back for house tours, set 3, and I couldn't wait to see everything. I walked up and down the road to each sorority with new friends. When our lunch break arrived, I used the free time to trek back to my dorm. Food and water never crossed my mind because I was panic-stricken over fixing my hair and makeup. I'd stepped up the glam factor to be on par with everyone else. Perfection was not just an option, it was the only option. I scrutinized myself in the mirror, then left with no time to spare and ran back to the Greek Road to make the rest of set 3. As the day came to a close, I waited impatiently in the shade with dozens of girls to enter my last house. Mild breezes flowed through the giant white tents we stood out under for every event, so waiting outside had never really bothered me before. This time was different. Every part of me was burning up. My head pounded and my legs wavered like they were about to give out. I felt like I was suffocating in the dry heat. Girls around me desperately fanned themselves with their flimsy name tags and sipped water. I searched for an RC to help me, but I couldn't move because we were crammed together like sardines. My voice was drowned out by all the conversations around me. I knew I'd have to tough it out. I glanced at my watch. Only 8 more minutes left. My vision went starry and the chatter started echoing in my ears. Not good. I tried again to squeeze past everyone for fresh air. I didn't know what to do. Only 5 minutes left. I couldn't sit down. I'd get trampled on. Girls looked at me with concern. "Are you okay? Do you need water? Drink water. You need air? Totally use my fan." I shook my head. I got dizzy. They told me I'd turned a ghostly white. 4 minutes. Everything turned dark as someone grabbed my hand and gently pulled me through the crowd. I woke up to the sound of sorority girls shouting their door song. There was something freezing on my forehead. Where was I? I was lying down flat and heard some whispers. What were they saying? I opened my eyes slowly, expecting to see the ceiling, but instead looked directly into the gaze of several girls hovering above me. I blinked in surprise and remained motionless. My head still felt like it was going to explode and nausea was seeping in. Everything was fuzzy. People started talking all at once. "Oh my God, we were so worried. How do you feel? Can you stand?" I had no energy to move. My RC slowly propped me up with a pillow on the couch I was sprawled across. It was so uncomfortable. She compressed an ice pack to my face, and someone else wiped my legs down with towels and makeup wipes. Bottled water was passed me with saltine crackers. I nibbled on the edge of a cracker reluctantly while I waited out the nausea. People were staring at me. I was mortified. The sorority president introduced herself to me, and I wanted to hide under the couch. She was the one giving me a full body wash with Neutrogena wipes. The situation could not have gotten worse. The dire need and want to leave the situation immediately gave me the confidence to stand. I finished my water and I looked to my counselor with hopes to leave. She caught my vibe and guided me out a back door. We walked together side by side and she gripped my arm in case I decided to pull another fast one. This girl was not having me drop on her watch again. I was given a massive lecture on our grand stroll. Note to self, bring snacks, chug water every day, don't wear leather docks when it's hotter than hell outside. She told me to text her later and it sent me off to my dorm to recover. I learned an important lesson that day. You aren't immune to the sun. You aren't immune to the sun. I put my Arizona native pride aside after that. I rock fanny packs when I go on hikes, stashed with water, trail mix, everything. No one's passing out on my watch. Aside from the brief chaos, I ended up in a great house that I love to this day. I met some of my closest friends within the first month of sisterhood events. Thankfully, it was all worth it in the end. All I've got to say now is, thank God for virtual Zoom recruit.